Vice-Chancellor Professor Kwesi Obri Danso, student leadership and all parties connected to Monday's disturbances at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology are this morning appearing before the Kumasi Traditional Council as the Asante Otumfuo to the second launch investigation into the matter. The school is currently closed indefinitely in the wake of Monday's violence, and the Otumfuo, who is also Chancellor, is seeking to restore order for academic work to resume. Here's Banta Mahene Nana Bafo Asari.
They are going to sit down with them and be able to dissect the issues, solve amicably whatever it is, together with government. The most important thing he's talking about that they need is that the university will be open within a short time so that the students can return to school.
Meanwhile, Education Minister Dr. Meanwhile, the students are demanding the sacking of the Vice-Chancellor. At a media briefing in Kumasi yesterday, members of the concerned student of KNUST called for the setting up of an interim management team. Emmanuel Yadom Boache speaks for the group.
The concerned students have resolved that 1. The failure of leadership from the university management is solely responsible for the unfortunate event of last Monday and calls for the following management members, that is the VC, Dean of Students, the Head of Security, the University Relations Officer who has been lying here and there, telling and twisting issues and facts just as he wanted, to be set aside for investigations and other relevant issues to continue or to move on. That number 2, that there should be the formation of an interim management of the university, since those in charge now couldn't manage things well and couldn't help matters. Number 3, that there is the need for reforms in the policies of the university to reverse the status quo and restore the true independence of the students. The students must control their resources. There is this unpopular decision by the VC, the Dean of Students, and the authorities that from the Finance Ministry, according to them, the Finance Ministry is saying the school should have a consolidated account where the Dean of Students would take charge of all the accounts, sign their account checks for them before they are able to get funds from their own accounts, which their members pay dues into. And these are some of our reliefs that we are telling the administration, the authorities, should give back the power to the students, because resources is our means and our source of power in doing our things.
And the UTAC president, Dr. Eric Opoku-Mensah, agrees with the student. He tells JoyNews the university's council is well constituted and must be allowed to find an amicable solution to the problems there.
What we are concerned as a national body are comments coming from certain political actors, on social media platforms and on radio, calling for the head of the Vice-Chancellor. We think this call is unfortunate and unnecessary, especially at this time, because Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has a governing council, and the council is properly constituted. It will interest many to know that government has 4 representatives on the council. One of them is the chair of the council. And the council has a representation from SRC. The SRC president is on council. The UTAC president is on that same council. TEU, the Tertiary Education Workers Union, has a representation on council. And CHAS also has a representation. And therefore, this very matter that has brought about this crisis was a policy decision that was made at council, of which the Vice-Chancellor is a member. Of course, the Vice-Chancellor is the head of the management team of the university. And therefore, as a result of student response to this policy, if certain unfortunate things have happened. UTAC does not think that the entire blame should be laid at the feet of the Vice Chancellor. Be it as it may, whatever has happened, we think that these political actors ought to be mindful and circumspect of the comments they are making and allow the governing council to act, because the Constitution gives provision for the president to appoint the chair of the governing council. So technically, when you take every public university, including KNUST, the council has a strong government representation. I think that it will be okay if we criticize what has happened, but you see a calculated attempt by certain individuals who are associated with government, targeting and making comments that are suggestive of the fact that a plan has been hatched and that the Vice Chancellor needs to go down. UTAC doesn't support that position. And what we want to tell these individuals is to stay away from the university and allow the legitimate council to work.
Well, while we await the outcome of that meeting, which we understand is later today, the one that has been called by Otumfuo to the second in Kumasi, there are arguments on the unfortunate incident. It's also been the blame that has been laid and the fact that there's been involvement of some old students in this matter. And we want to get a bit of clarification on this. So joining us via phone is a former SRC president of the KNUST, David Asante. David, good morning to you. Thanks for your time on News Desk. If you can hear me.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So, David, how much of an influence in terms of the old students do you have on this current leadership?
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to our viewers. And then thanks for the opportunity too. From where I stand, or from where I sit, the former SRC president of KNUS, this is our position. On Monday, we sent a rep into the university to follow up on the matters. One of the senior-most SRC presidents, former. Our position was that, in any case, persons who have led the university successfully may have one or two experiences to share with our younger colleagues currently leading the university. The purpose of our coming together was to go back to the university, to sit down with them, to find out, if possible, how do we dialogue and negotiate our way around the precedent the university intends taking regarding the welfare of the university and the students and what have you. On Monday, I had the opportunity to speak to the Vice Chancellor after one of the SRC president, former, who went there to broker the meeting on our behalf, was in the office of the VC. Proud to our discussion, we didn't know there was an ongoing plans to have a demonstration. So on the Monday, when we spoke to the Vice Chancellor, our original intention was to have a meeting with him. Little did we know the demonstration was going to happen and was going to, hit such a magnitude. We, as former SRC president, have a simple platform and caucus we belong to. And the ultimate goal and principal objective is to go back to meet the student leaders and to help give a sense of direction regarding the welfare of the students and their relationship with the university authority. Quite apart from that, I do not think the former leaders of the university have had any involvement in the activities of the university regarding the scope and direction the student leaders are giving to the students over there.
David, when you say you help give them a sense of direction, what exactly do you mean?
I have been SRC president of the University of Science and Technology from 2006 to 2007. We had a similar case. We didn't respond to violence or demonstration, either peaceful or violent one. We always chose the path of dialogue. We negotiated, we dialogued. We got to a point where the university were comfortable, the students and their leaders were comfortable. Now, may I also put on record that the presence of the SRC president on the university council and the academic board of the university, the presence of the grassroots president on the academic board and on the council of the university. And don't forget, these are the two most powerful decision-making bodies of the university. Academic board, because it's an academic institution, and the university council. If the SRC president, after his election, has a seat permanently with voting rights on that council, it means the involvement of student leadership in the day-to-day decision-making of the university is paramount. So at any point in time, the authority of the university decides to rubbish their presence and their involvement, there will be spelling chaos. And what happened in KNUST, I think negotiations broke down. The authorities did not take time to listen to the students and to carry them along in the decision-making process. And may we also not skew ourselves to the fact of whether or not the conversion of the traditional halls into mixed halls was the prime reason why the students fall onto the street. I disagree. A lot of decisions have been taken by the university, where the Student Representative Council, who represent the majority of students and their interests, was completely ignored.
And David, some people have suggested that it's because of all these, you sort of fueled what happened on Monday. Are there things that you couldn't achieve that you're putting pressure on this current SRC to do?
Sorry, I missed the question.
So the first part is the fact that some people have suggested that your unhappiness with the conversion, for instance, you've been trying to influence the student to do something like what we witnessed on Monday.
Not at all. Do not get me wrong. I have never spoken the conversion of the traditional halls into mixed halls. I do not have a personal position on that matter. In any case, it's purely a policy decision. All we are asking is, such a major policy decision, you should involve stakeholders. In any major decision of this nature, stakeholder involvement is principal and paramount. All the university needed to do was to carry along the stakeholders in the conversion process. And are you aware? Faculty presidents and the president of the Student Representative Council do not have access, are not signatories to the account of the student body elite. All these have been banned in the two traditional halls, University Hall, popularly known as Katanga Hall, and the Unity Hall as continued. These presidents of the two halls are not recognized by the university, JCR, Junior Common Room, and Senior Common Room. So there are not, the whole problem is a cocktail of a problem. It's a convoluted set of problems. But I am recommending that we should not look at the matter strictly from the point of view of the conversion. A lot must have happened in KNUST regarding the relationship the university has had with the student leadership in the last few years. Let us take time and not take time and look into the matter and find out why negotiations broke down. The students did not resort to demonstration as the first point of call to resolve the dispute. Series of letters have been written to the university. Find out a lot of communiques have been sent out on behalf of the students. And all these grievances were just brushed under the carpet. So what I'm recommending is that it's unfortunate. We must all join to condemn the vandalism and the distraction. I led KNUST peacefully under 1 year, not a demonstration, not a single student appeal.
Just before we end the conversation, though,
I will not speak and see what happened. It's acceptable. It is not.
Just before we end this conversation, David, the students are calling for the Vice Chancellor to leave. Are the old students supporting them?
Well, I don't speak for the old students, but my personal position on this matter is that it is premature for us to say the Vice Chancellor should go. This is the time for cool heads to prevail. The university has an internal mechanism to resolve this dispute. It's purely an educational institution of higher academic learning. They have the capacity and the ability to sit down to resolve the issues internally.
Okay.
And don't forget, the Vice Chancellor has a management team and sits on council. I do not think it was a sole decision by the VC.
Okay. All right, David, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for joining us here on News Desk. He's a former SRC president of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Let's now move to the University of Professional Studies, Accra, where some students have been condemning the destruction of property at the KNUST campus. The students say, though they side with the aggrieved KNUST students on the intended demonstration, the wanton destruction of cars and other university property was needless. They spoke with Maxwell Agbagba.
I think the students had a case, but the method of demonstration wasn't quite good. They should have done it in a more peaceful manner. Yeah, that's what I think of the case.
Do you think they should have done it in a more peaceful manner?
Yeah, because the damage was too bad. And it would cost a lot of money to fix all these things and all that, you understand? Yeah, but they should have used a different method.
A different method, like what?
Like they could have demonstrated, but in a more peaceful manner, you understand? In a more
peaceful
yeah.
manner.
Yeah.
It was dubbed a peaceful demonstration, but eventually it turned into, at the end of the day, it turned into something else. Do you side with what he's saying? Do you agree with that assertion?
Yeah, I do. I think they should have followed a channel, a right channel, to communicate their problem to the management. Yeah, by involving either their SRC to take the matter forward. That would have been the best.
That would have been the best?
Yes. I think they are right, because they were interceding for their fellow student who was brutally who was brutalized.
Yeah, the students were right. Yeah, they were right, but I think they overreacted. It was too much. The destruction of property and other stuffs went too far. Yes, yeah, they are right. They are right, but right now they are the losing end. Yes. Right now they are in their homes and they are not studying, so they are the losing end. So I think the government should intervene and make some decisions so that they can return to school and continue with their studies. Yes.
Let me find out from you what you make of the conversion of the male halls into mixed halls. If you were there, would you have been happy with that decision?
Not at all.
Not at all. Why?
Yeah. Because I don't see why you should introduce females to a place where there have been boys for so long. Like, it has been this way for a very long time, and why should you change it? It shouldn't be changed. It's a traditional something that has been there for a very long time, so they shouldn't change it. They shouldn't have changed it.
But I mean, what is wrong with adding girls to a hall that previously was all male?
But I don't see why girls should be introduced to a hall that was all male. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, they should make their own halls for them.
What do you think is the way forward? What do you think should be the solution to this? We know Menshia is trying to resolve the standoff between management and then the student leaders and then the students. We know government sent a delegation there. But as students yourself in tertiary institutions, in a tertiary institution, what do you think is the solution? I'm sure there are times that management, even here at UPS, will take a decision that you're not in favor of. What do you think is the way forward? What do you think is the solution to all of this?
The demonstration, yeah, they were right by taking it, but they overreacted. Maybe influence from people outside campus. They could also hinder the thing. Yeah, so I think if left onto only the students, they would have done a better job, but like influence from other people.
Okay, yeah. I'll leave you to go to class right now, but let me just wrap up with you. What do you think is the solution? What do you think is the way forward?
As I said earlier on, I said the government should try and intervene and make some decisions. Yes, maybe the students have to return to school, yeah, to continue their studies, and maybe the management should also make some decisions to prevent like such situations.
And as and when we get information from that meeting in Kumasi called by the Otumfuo Osei to the second later on in the day, we'll bring that to you.